What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of What's Your Issue? I am your host, NeM, along with Pops Van Sant. And as you can see, we have a very special guest today. I want to welcome into What's Your Issue, Chuck Shute. Did I say that right? I'm saying it.
It's just shoot. It's just like,
shoot.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm
one question I forgot
to
ask.
I've heard it called Shut, Shooty. I've heard it all. So yeah.
That's the one question I forgot to ask in the pre-show. How do you pronounce your name?
I know. I've asked so many of my guests that in practice. Because there's a lot of tough ones out there.
So, well, if you're ever feeling like you want to get into it and start salsa and everything, I'm Chuck Shute, you can be like start dancing around. So, welcome to the Madness Entertainment Group and What's Your Issue? This is a show where when we have guests, it's freewheeling. What's your issue means, what do you have going on currently? Where'd you come from? Or sometimes if our guests want to get on here and talk about things that they want to get off their chest, we let them do that as well. But welcome to What's Your Issue, Chuck. Very, very honored to meet you. Checked out your channel, watched it. Congratulations on 500 podcasts, by the way. Great milestone there. So,
wow, I didn't think anybody cared. That's really nice to hear that. Wow, thank you.
I saw your most recent interview with Brian, and that's who it was, right? Brian S. I can't remember his last name.
I saw.
It was,
I think the last one I did was wasn't it Vernon Reed from Living Color, or was there another? Did I do another one?
Okay, yeah, it was Vernon Reed. The one before that was like the real buff dude.
Brian Sanders. Yeah, the guy that. He's like he's doing this whole thing with food and so I've learned a lot from watching those kind of guys. I find that stuff interesting. I know some of the people interested in music, they're like, well, I don't care about this stuff, but I don't know. I find all that stuff really interesting too. Just as you get older, you start getting more concerned about your health and stuff. So yeah, I like that.
Branch out. You got to branch out a little bit. And we started with comics, but here I am talking to a guy that hosts a music show. You see what I'm saying? You have to branch out.
Yeah.
Now,
one of the things go ahead.
The one thing about this show, now usually we would have a guest on, they already know what the format is. What's your issue? And we just let them go crazy, right? But I was wanting to introduce you to the network, to our people who might not know who you are. You have an awesome channel on YouTube. You've interviewed everybody, man. You've interviewed so many people I want to talk to. Now, a couple of those people I've met, I've talked to before, but you have interviewed just a lot of music people, Don Dock and all kinds of people, man. What do you still get a rush from it? Okay, because I know in the beginning you did, but do you still get a rush when somebody comes on your show, maybe that you haven't talked to, that you've wanted to?
Oh yeah, I mean, I love it. It's like you're right. The rush is a perfect way to describe it because it's like I think when I started, it was more like a nervous energy, like a scared kind of thing. And I don't necessarily get as scared, but I get a rush. Yeah, it's like, but it's more of like excitement. Like if you're going on the roller coaster, I think initially maybe you're really scared, but then eventually you're like, wow, that's actually really fun. And that's kind of where I'm at now. I don't really get as scared as much. It's more just exciting. And that feeling that I'm sure you guys know after you finish a good podcast or a good interview, it's hard to beat that feeling. Like it's like a high. It's like a drug almost. It's crazy.
Yeah. Now I saw on your sizzle reel for season 5, one of the things that almost everybody that you were interviewing was saying is that you surprised them because you did your research and you had stuff to talk to them about. So it's like, I'm just curious, how much show prep do you do? And I have some experience with doing my research and asking those odd questions. How cool is it for you when you connect with somebody because you bring something up that they've never heard before?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, some people don't like it. Some people get kind of weirded out and they don't like that I've done the research, or I don't know, like I think it rubs people the wrong way, but a lot of people feel very flattered and they're excited that they actually took the time to ask them something different. Because I'll listen to previous interviews, so I'll hear a lot of the same questions repeatedly. And I get annoyed, and I'm just listening. I can't imagine how they feel being asked the same thing over and over and over and over again. So I try to, like, if there's something that they've been asked a lot, I'm either going to take a different angle on it, or I'm going to summarize it and kind of move on to it, or I'm just not going to bring it up at all, because I'm sure they're sick of talking about it. You know, it's like there's certain things like Kip Winger with the Beavis and Butthead stuff. I'm like, can we not ask him about this anymore? Like, he's answered it a million times. And Skid Row with, are you getting smashing back? It's like these questions that are just, it's the same thing over and over. And I just don't know why people keep asking him that. Probably to get
it's the same for comics. Like, you'll interview somebody like Mike Barron or Chuck Dixon, who's been around forever and done everything, and everybody has asked him every question.
Yeah, it's hard.
I mean, hell, Mike Barron's been on our network like a dozen or more times. So what do you ask him now that somebody hasn't already asked him, right? I caught Chuck Dixon completely by surprise. I asked him what was his favorite album cover art.
That's
just because I wanted to ask him something I didn't know about him already, right? So,
or if you're staying current, and I mean, then you could beat people, because if it's a recent news story, they haven't been asked about it because it's brand new. So that's always something, an angle you can take too.
And that also may be somebody you might want to interview. He wrote the screenplay the screenplay, the story for The Working Man with Jason Statham that's just out recently.
Wow.
So Chuck Dixon, man, write that down. Chuck and Chuck. I can see it already. You see?
I interviewed Cassandra Peterson, better known as Elvira. And, she had heard all of it. And I managed to find a little tidbit in her autobiography about the fact that at one point she was living in a treehouse. So my wife said something to me, and I brought it up to her as a question. I got to give credit to my wife, though, because all the good stuff comes from her. And I was like, how do you pee when you're living in a treehouse, especially in winter? And she just laughed, and she's like, I've been waiting for someone to ask me that question. So it's like, it's funny stuff like that. It just comes out of nowhere.
Good point. What was the answer to that, by the way? Don't leave me hanging here.
It was a bucket. She had to go down, like they had a little thing set up with a hose, and it was a whole thing. I guess she was her boyfriend at the time had built this tree house in this tree in Hollywood, and it was a whole thing. And they lived in the tree house for a while, and then this was before she moved into a haunted house later. Just an incredibly nice lady, a very cool interview. And if you've never gotten a chance to read her autobiography, it's worth a pickup. It's worth a read. It's really good. She's a really great interview. But that reminds me, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, because it was the same thing. I was like, I didn't want to ask you all the same questions. It's like, I want to hit on some of the stuff. Like, I would love to know, well, let's do one of the boring questions. How did you get into this? How did you decide
at the beginning? That
you're going to do this? How did you decide to get into being a podcast host, and then not only be a podcast host, but attract the level of guests that you attract? So,
I mean, I think it's just like, I like the things that I like, music, movies, sports, all these things. I don't have talent to, I can't play sports. I can't act. I've tried to do stand-up comedy. I'm not that funny. But I find these people so fascinating. And so what can I do? I can't, there's other areas you can, jobs you can get in this business. You could be the lighting director, something like that. But that didn't seem appealing to me. Talking to people is interesting. I mean, my background's a counselor, so I'm used to doing one-on-one interviews with people, but counseling, you're talking about like really dark and deep stuff sometimes, whereas this is more fun. And so this was like a breath of fresh air. And so, I think I just interviewed a couple of people, and I was like, wow, I really like this. And I started before COVID. So it was like before, and then it was so funny because I had already started, and then everybody started a podcast during COVID because there's nothing else to do. And I'm sure it was like it was a lot better because more people were watching because there's nothing else to do. And it was easier to get guests because the guests didn't have anything else to do. So I mean, I kind of fell in love with it. Like I said, I think initially the first 20, 50 episodes or so, it was like, whoa, I'm like, really nervous and scared. Usually at the beginning, but I would ease into it. But I still get a rush from talking to people. And it's not necessarily always the big celebrities. I mean, sometimes I have really good conversations with people who aren't necessarily famous, or maybe they don't even have a lot of followers, but somebody can just have a really good conversation with somebody if they really open up and you hit on some interesting subjects. And I find that stuff really fast. I mean, I have really interesting conversations with people at the gym or at a bar or wherever. I mean, I love talking to people. It's so interesting to hear everyone's got a story. Everyone's got a background. It's interesting to hear where people are coming from.
Absolutely. I know that my first interview that I ever did was with Todd McFarlane, who's a big
he lives in Arizona here, I think, doesn't he?
Yeah.
You live in Arizona.
Yeah.
I lived in Phoenix. I lived in West Phoenix for 35 years. I don't live there anymore, but I did. I know your state very well.
Yeah.
Very well.
But I remember being so nervous. I had like all the questions written down, was reading them verbatim, and wasn't really having a conversation. So it's one of those things, I guess I'll ask you the question though. I think it's one of those things that you learn, that eventually you learn. It's just about having that dialogue. Did you feel the same way? Did you get that same experience becoming an interviewer?
Yeah, because I think when I started, so I've always done my research. I still do my research, but I think when I started, I was like, okay, I want to do a chronological story, a timeline. I have, scripted questions, and I'm sticking to the script. And when they started going off script, I was like, I pull them back. And I think it was too rigid. I didn't like it. And so, I mean, I think just over time, I just developed my own style. And I like when they go off on a tangent, and I want to go down that rabbit hole sometimes if it's interesting. And I noticed that because I always listen back to my episodes because I do the show notes, and I would listen back and I go, oh my God, I just missed something. He just brought up something so good, but I was so focused on getting my question that I just ignored what he said about this. And so, I think it took time to develop.
This show was born. That's kind of how this show was born, with giving the podium to the guest. What's your issue? Because all the other shows are kind of straight interview or promotional or whatever. It was like, we got to have at least one show where we can just give them the mic and let them loose.
I think when I started, I was more rigid. Like, I mean, if you watched Howard Stern interviews, he is very structured. He has his set of questions, and he will interrupt the guest many, many times. And some people don't like that. And I don't know that I was necessarily interrupting the guest. Sometimes people accuse me of that. I didn't try to, but I did have my list of questions that I wanted to get through. And now I'm much more kind of the newer style podcast is more conversational, like Joe Rogan. And I think that fits better, especially if you have a lot of time. If it's not a 20 or 30-minute interview and you can really get to know each other, I think that works better. So,
yeah, I agree. I think it's more fun, and then you get to get more of a flavor of who the guest is because they're talking like a real person, instead of a robot. Or like that.
You develop an actual rapport with them, not I'm going to ask you some questions, you answer them, bye.
Right. Now, especially if questions I've already answered a million times.
Really I got a question for you. Do you do this now as a living? Is this what you do as a profession, YouTubing, or do you have a day job as well? So.
I'm trying to find a day job right now. Yeah, I'm kind of in between stuff. But this was my main focus for a while, especially during COVID. There was really nothing else I could do. So, I mean, this is what I was trying to focus on. I was trying to build it, kind of invest in myself. And I was hoping after 6 years or so, however long it's been for me, I thought I'd be a lot further along. So I don't know. I may have to shift into something else, but for a while, I was spending a majority of my time working on this. Editing interviews, doing the research, trying to book guests, all the things that go along, as you guys know, with a YouTube channel and a podcast. It's a lot of work. So, I don't know. I think I'm kind of burned out at this point, and I don't know. I might be taking a hiatus or just cutting. I've been cutting back to like about one a week, but it's hard to get guests now. Nobody wants to do my show. It's just too many podcasts, and kind of got buried at the bottom of the pile, I think.
Well, that's unfortunate.
But I can probably send a couple people your way that are musically inclined and would love to be interviewed.
Well,
sure. I mean, I'm always looking.
I wanted to throw this clip up because this is one of the ones that I saw that I wanted to talk to you about. This is a short from your show, and it's about, it says, quit your job. So immediately it grabbed me, but I want to throw this up for everybody. And then on the other side, ask you a question about it, if that's okay. Here we go.
You froze. In my sake, the customer's sake, the clients, whatever they may be, whoever you're dealing with, the general public at large, if you are in a job and you hate it, get out. Get out of the job. Find something else to do. If you need some help, I can help you. I think I can help you figure out what you're good at Everybody has a purpose. Everybody has something they're good at, something that they're interested in, and that they can contribute to this world. I believe that. I strongly believe that. You should be looking at something that you're interested in, something that you're good at, and something that the world needs. If you can satisfy all three of those things, you're on the right track. Maybe you can't do it right away. And people say, I know when people are going to say, oh, well, that's not realistic. Like, oh, if that was the case, then there wouldn't be any janitors. Okay, well, maybe you want to be a custodian at a building for a company that you'd like to work with, and you'd like to start at as the custodian. Or maybe you want to be a custodian to learn what custodians do, and then you're going to start a custodian business, and you're going to own it, and you're going to make a lot of money. I mean, there's a lot of options with anything.
So I was going into this thinking that you did mostly music interviews, and I went down the rabbit hole of Chuck Shute and looked at all your stuff, and I saw this, and I really appreciate it because it's that motivational. But the first thing I got to ask you about this clip, and I know this is right out of left field, but man, what's with that shirt? Bigfoot and the UFO and the top and everything. What's going on with that? I was like, immediately I saw that. I was like, I like the message of what we're talking about here, but I got to know about the shirt with Bigfoot and the UFO. I was like, where did that come from?
This is
You're the only one that noticed that. Thank you. Yeah, I just thought it was a cool shirt. I saw that. I can't remember why I was looking for. I was on Amazon looking at Bigfoot. I just find all that shit so fascinating. And I saw that shirt and I go, dude, that's awesome. It's Bigfoot and UFOs. I was like, this is funny. And I think if you look closer, it's hard to see for it's cut off. But I think either Bigfoot or the alien is playing the guitar. I was like, this is everything I love. It's music. It's paranormal. It's sci-fi stuff. I mean, so yeah, thank you for noticing that. I appreciate that. I love that shirt.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh, okay, now I need to talk to this guy because this guy is right on my wavelength. You know, so I was like, what is up with that? Very cool.
As a matter of fact, he's going to be starting a new show on the network, a paranormal show.
I love that.
Anytime you want to come out and be a guest, if you see a topic that we're rolling with, man, just hit us up. You're more than welcome to join us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know.
So, but going back to that clip that you were talking about, so doing something you love or whatever, how important do you think that is, I guess, spiritually? Because I've got some experience with that myself. I have to work out of the home now, but I killed myself for years doing a 4-hour commute every day for work, for banking, and I hated it and everything else. So where do you come from on that? Because I know a lot of people, like my parents would be some of those people who would be like, no, you got to get your nose to the grindstone and, you know, it doesn't matter who you work for. So what is that message you're trying to get across to people? Because I thought it was very uplifting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like, I mean, yeah, it's still going to be a job, right? You're going to be doing work. And there's things that I love about podcasting, and there's things I absolutely hate. I'm sure you guys feel the same way about like some of the editing and reaching out to having to beg guests and be turned down. And sometimes you have a bad interview. I mean, it's work. It's not just laying at the beach drinking a margarita. So I do think you are going to have to push your nose to the grindstone a little bit. I mean, I go to the gym every day and I fucking hate people are like, oh, you must love the gym. I'm like, no, I fucking hate the gym, but I love the feeling of when you leave the gym and, you know, the progress that I make and all that. So I think, yeah, but I think you got to find something that you're excited about, that you're going to look back and be proud on. You feel like you're making a contribution, and something that, you know, with the podcast, I mean, when I'm in the zone and I have that good interview, like I said, you leave the interview, you put the headphones down, you turn the mic off, you feel like you're high. You feel like you just took a drug. You're on cloud 9. I mean, there isn't a drug really that can fix that feeling. And so if you're not getting that at least some of the time from your work, I think you're in the wrong field. And yes. I think that there are ways to feel that. I mean, you think, oh, well, nobody wants to be, you know, like an accountant or whatever. But no, I think sometimes for some people, my parents were both accountants, and I think they like working with numbers. I think they feel like they're good at it, and they feel like they did something. And, you know, like sales, I mean, there's so many things that you should feel something, some sense of accomplishment. Yeah, you might not love it. It might not be your first choice because it is a job. I guess the other thing is sometimes you take a job that you don't really like, but you can tolerate it to get to do whatever it is you want to do. Like I think there was somebody that I was friends with, their kid was really into surfing. And so they just did some sort of 9 to 5 that just paid the bills enough so that they could spend all their as most of their time surfing as they could. So if you can do that, I guess that works too. But For me, it's like, I think you should be in a job that is something that's interesting to you. Like, don't take a job at Home Depot if you don't like construction and fixing things. It doesn't make sense to me. So that's my take.
I wasn't treated well by corporate America. Okay.
I can't imagine why.
I gave it my all, man. I worked for a company. I'm not going to say what company. It had 240 nationwide locations. Okay. Out of all those employees, in an 18-month span, I was the employee of the month twice.
Wow.
My boss thought I was trying to get his job and got me fired. I didn't want his job. I just wanted to learn everything about the business, just like every job I've ever had. I wanted to learn everything about it. It wasn't a career choice. It was a knowledge thing. It's just like going to school, bro. Just like going to school. I went and learned hands-on how to do this. I went and learned hands-on how to do that. I've been in radio. I've been in distribution. I've done all kinds of stuff and went out of my way to learn as much as I could about that particular industry.
Because it was something that interested you, right?
Yeah. And I wanted to know, hey, I need some fallbacks because this ain't my goal, but you still, it's nice to know other stuff just in case what you really want don't work. Right. I was over 50 before I figured out what I really want. You know what I mean? It was like, I was always a comic fan, always into pop culture, always one of those guys, but never looked at it as something I could turn into a career. Until COVID, when everybody, like you said, started making podcasts and stuff. For me, it was doing it to help people because they didn't have tables to set up at every city across the nation. I was giving them a virtual table, right? Come out here, tell everybody what you got. We'll drop links. They can go buy it. Everybody was buying stuff online anyway, right? It all fit, okay? But that wasn't the career move. That was the I'm trying to help my friends thing, and it just blew up into what now is a career move. You see what I'm saying? It's like none of it ever planned.
I think it takes time to figure it out.
Yeah.
But my point with the video was just that, if you're unhappy where you are, then quit and find something different because somebody else will probably appreciate the job that you're in that you hate. And that's how I felt when I was working in the schools towards the end of it. I was like, I hate this job. I got to quit. And I think somebody else will take that job and be like, wow, I really love this job. Mm-hmm. So, you're kind of being selfish if you're going to stay in it and you don't quit if you don't really appreciate it and love it. So I think that goes with anything like relationships or, anything. So
I will say that out of your video and what you were just talking about, what really resonates with me is that my day job now is a writer. There's a lot of stuff that goes along with that that's drudgery. But the fact that I love writing and writing fiction and all the things I do makes the drudgery manageable. So I want to shift gears, if I could, back to the Bigfoot era, and the paranormal and everything. So I saw this as well. This is something I wanted to interview people about more, but you did this interview and you were talking about Project Bluebeam. So I'm going to put this up real quick, and then I want to hear what you learned about Project Bluebeam, if I could. So
Bluebeam, there's a rumored technology that the government has the ability to project a 300-yard Buddha, Muhammad, or Jesus or UFO into the sky. The government could stage an alien attack or an alien invasion, or they could make a giant Jesus.
Somewhere in Scandinavia where there was a projection in the sky of a UFO. It turned out to be a hologram, and people were saying that's related to Project Bluebeam, and that could possibly answer some of the questions regarding some of these sightings.
That's the theory. Again, this is all just a theory. We don't have facts, but it would be a one world government, one world currency, and a one world control grid. So like all the countries would get together and they would use different holograms of the different gods, or they would all be an alien or whatever it was. And then they could use that to control people. I mean, that would be very concerning if a giant alien or Jesus shows up. I mean,
or a giant Bill Gates, as people might.
So this is the thing I found fascinating about your podcast. I was going through all your different podcasts. As you were doing all of these eclectic things, and then Project Bluebeam. I've heard it being something completely different. I had heard it in connection with like the fires in Hawaii and stuff like that, as like the space laser causing fires and stuff. But how did you get on this? How did you find this guest? And is this something that I guess you're passionate about, diving into these different, conspiracy theories or the paranormal and things like that?
Yeah, because I think that guy actually he does the UFO stuff, but he's also in a band. I forget his name. I'm spacing on it right now. I have like 500 episodes, but yeah, we talked about that. I think I would learn about Project Bluebeam on another podcast. And I just find that stuff so fascinating. Some people they're almost like offended by when you bring those kinds of things up, but I find it so interesting. Just the theories and the things that are true. I think there is a fact. There is Project Bluebeam. It does. I mean, it did exist. I think the government denies it, or they say it doesn't exist anymore, but they do have that technology to project these things in the sky. So, I mean, then you start going down the rabbit hole of aliens, like, because people are seeing aliens, like, is it real? Is it real aliens, or is it the government or a different country's government trying to trick us? I mean, who knows? I don't know. Or maybe they spread this information to make the real aliens seem fake. You know what I mean? Right. It's like this, you never really know. I find it all fascinating, though.
It's always been misinformation with the alien world. Okay.
Right.
Leak a little bit and then discredit it. Leak a little bit and then discredit it. And pretty soon everybody just discredits everything.
So going down that tangent, then, did you see the recent thing, the recent congressional hearing with the UFOs where they showed a UAP getting hit by a Hellfire missile and all that?
No, I didn't see that. It got hit by a missile?
Yeah. So they had another hearing a couple days ago in Congress, and there were 5 more military members testifying, and they presented some video footage that they had, and one of them was of a UAP going incredibly fast, and it got hit by a Hellfire missile and then shrugged it off and kept going. So,
wow. Yeah, that's great. I've listened to some of Rogan's episodes where he has people on there from the government, and they disclose that they've seen stuff, but they don't say exactly, but they've seen crafts and beings, or they know somebody that has seen it. And I don't know. I mean, either this is a misinformation thing where they're trying to get people to believe it, or they're finally disclosing the truth. I'm not sure which one it is, but it's really fascinating either way.
I think it's always been they're trying to make sure that the public, the population can handle it. And that's why alien shows, sci-fi shows, all this stuff, it's like they've definitely made it so if aliens did come, and nobody's going to go, everybody's just kind of like, yeah, we knew that was coming, I mean, there's hardcore people that don't believe. I feel that in all the cosmos, if we think we're the most intelligent species out there, we're deluding ourselves.
Yeah. I will say that
we ain't that smart, people. We just ain't,
I was an air defense officer in the Army, and we were testing a missile system out at White Sands, and we had the most advanced radar that I knew of at the time. And we would get people in a testing range, UAPs in a testing range, going in and out of our radar coverage. So I don't know what kind of lunatic would be in our testing range on, anti-ballistic missiles, but for what it's worth, I've seen that as well. So it's interesting, that you talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's fascinating stuff. Yeah. I love going to those conspiracy theories and going down that rabbit hole. There's a lot of the stuff. It's not even conspiracy. It's just fact. Exactly. Just that people don't talk about it on the real news or whatever very often. But I mean, it's on the internet. You can find the reports, you can find videos, and you can see interviews with people. And so a lot of it is fact. People just don't talk about it or know about it. I think during COVID, that's when I started to kind of really explore things more like that, like the news and the government and what's going on, and the difference between fact and fiction, and what the media wants us to believe versus the truth. And I mean, it's really interesting to put on the rabbit hole.
So I have a question for you then, on another tangent, then how often do you think that the label conspiracy theory is used as a convenient way for establishment figures just to shut down inquiry or debate on stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think that's what the term was invented, supposedly by the CIA, to discredit people, to talk about things. I think it might have been during the JFK assassination when they came. Oh, this guy's conspiracy theorist. He thinks there was more than one person involved in the shooting and all this, So it was a way for them to discredit a lot of that stuff that it turns out later. I believe a lot of it has been stated as fact. So, and the same with the alien stuff. A lot of this is coming out as is now fact. So yeah, they use that term to discredit people. It's the same old tricks. It's kind of, and I had no idea. I thought, oh yeah, you're a conspiracy theorist if you think this. And I thought all those conspiracy theories are whack. I still think a lot of them are probably not real, but
right.
Yeah, a lot of them I think are just people are being discredited because somebody doesn't want them to know the real truth, which is
I want to show you guys two of my very favorite memes along this topic.
Oh, okay.
My very favorite memes along this topic. This is the first one.
That is good.
I didn't need to see that. It's still very early here in California, so
yeah. Those are both spot on. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate the mainstream media. I believe that they're probably responsible for 90% of the division in this country, if not the world. Screw.
Well, I will also say that even people that I think are really far out there, that there's no chance that they're right, I'm willing to listen to them if they have new information, like flat Earth people. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure the Earth is not flat, but you know what? I'll listen to have a discussion. So,
I mean, I had a Bigfoot expert. Rest in peace, Dr. Jeffrey Meldrum. He just died yesterday. It was really sad.
I love Doc. He died.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was really sad, but I had him on my show, and it was I think it was my 5th the most popular episode of all time. Like, people loved it. I mean, I don't necessarily believe in Bigfoot. I think it's a pretty small chance that something like that exists, but I find his research fascinating, and he's a really neat guy. And I think we should listen to all these kinds of people that are spending their lives, researching this stuff. I want to hear what they have to say. And he even said, he goes, I'm not trying to convince you that Bigfoot exists. I'm trying to convince you there's enough evidence that we should look into it more. And I agree with that.
Well, it's like,
do you like the new theory about the reason we never catch good looks at him or anything is because Bigfoot can teleport?
That was something I asked Dr. Meldrum. I said, do you think Bigfoot is interdimensional? And that's why you never catch him, because he's going through different dimensions.
Oh, yeah.
So he didn't think that was plausible, but that was my theory too. Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Well,
it's actually a working theory right now. You see it out there a lot, that Bigfoot can teleport, and that's why when he hears somebody or sees somebody, just boop, he's 100 yards away now, another direction, right? Not necessarily that he jumps into a different dimension, but just like Nightcrawler in the X-Men comics. Boom, he's over there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, it's like with the UAPs, it's like I can't say that it's definitely an extraterrestrial, but it's worth looking into, because it's something that we don't know what
there's something there. Yeah. I mean, there's video. I don't know if the video is being fake, but there's something. I mean, the pilot is saying, like, I can't follow. This moves like nothing I've ever seen. And I mean, you see the video and it's something weird. I don't know what it is, but there's something. I mean, it's unidentified. So,
well, here's another tangent to go down then. And I'm curious what your response to this would be. But one of the things that gets me is a lot of these military videos have been shared, and I've seen a lot of graphic, or people that do CGI and stuff like that, debunking the video, saying it looks fake or it doesn't look right. And it annoys me because I don't think a lot of people understand that the video equipment that we get in the military is not the greatest. It just needs to be functional. So
not only that, but you're talking about a camera mounted on a plane that's moving by 600 miles an hour. You're not going to get your crystal clear freaking picture, guys.
Right. But my question for you, though, is that what do you think the future is for all of these, things like the Bigfoot or UAPs and everything, as CGI and AI imaging and everything gets better and better? What do you think?
More hoaxes?
Yeah, or a lot more hoaxes, or do you think that what is real is just going to get lost in the number of people who are coming up with these hoaxes. So
yeah, it's really hard to tell. I mean, I see stuff all the time that's AI, and it's hard to tell. I mean, sometimes you can kind of tell with the voice if someone's talking because it's a little bit more robotic than a human. And then obviously, if it's a public figure, they can say that's AI, that's not me. You know, they'll deny it. It doesn't come from their account or whatever. But yeah, with something like Bigfoot or aliens, I mean, who knows? Yeah, the AI just keeps getting better and better. It's going to be really hard to tell the difference.
Well, sometimes I wonder, even in court cases and stuff, you know, it's like, is video evidence going to become obsolete, you know, because you can fake anything. So
it's a good point. Yeah, it's almost like we went from like you need the video to prove it to now the video is going to be worthless because anybody can have a video.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, not only that, they can fake voices. So it's like phone calls or whatever. All of that can be pretty well faked now.
Yeah, that's scary. Because then people could blackmail you, and they could record you saying terrible, horrible things and say, "Well, I got your voice saying this. If you don't do what I want,
that has already happened. There was a court case a couple of years ago where forensically they were able to prove that this guy, I think it was on a school board, was trying to get some people fired and blackmailed for like sexually soliciting minors for sex and stuff like that, and he had faked it all, and so but caused a lot of problems for the people. Eventually found out it was him and he got put in jail, but it was this exact thing. He used AI to fake the voices and everything. So
that's good that they can do the forensic work and figure it out, though.
Yeah. But I think that's just going to get more difficult as AI gets better. So unfortunately,
you have to watermark your voices.
Yeah. So let's pivot then. I want to get, so one of the things you do a lot of is music, obviously. So you're eclectic. You do all these different things. I saw one of your recent interviews was with Don Dokken. So, and I thought this was funny. I want to put this up here, and then on the back end, I'd like you to elaborate a little bit on how you get your guests to open up. You know, maybe Dokken just wanted to talk about Vince Neil, maybe not. So, but I'm curious to hear how you approach that to get your guests to open up on these things. So here's its clip from your show with Don Dokken spilling the tea on Vince Neil. So
Neil had a facelift, and they actually filmed it and showed it on TV. Here's Vince getting his face lifted. I don't know why he did that. He just needed to lose 150 pounds. Within a month, he'd only had that car a month, and then he killed Razzle. So I saw him a week later, and he was wasted. And beyond Razzle, I met the girl that he hit. She was like in a Volkswagen or something. And she's mangled for the rest of her life. She's really crippled. You know, she was on a cane and scars on her face, and she really got hurt. And, you know, I guess when you're famous, you can get away with it. I think he was only in jail for 5 days.
Whoa.
Yeah, so obviously he doesn't think real highly of Vince Neil, but how do you, with all of your guests, how do you get them to open up and get to the true person that you're talking to? So
yeah, I mean, it helps if you have more time, you know, but I think just being genuine and just developing a rapport with them and just allowing them to talk and just let them vent and make them feel comfortable and don't feel judged, you know, don't judge them. Don't let them feel like it's a safe space. Like we're just having a conversation and they almost forget they're on a podcast. Then yeah, they'll just open up and if he just said that, I couldn't believe it. I was like, whoa. I was like, usually don't try to post things super negative, but I was like, this is like so over the top that it's just like funny to me. I'm just like, okay, he must not give a shit or like, you know.
Did you post that clip as a short?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many views did it get?
I think it has over 250,000 on YouTube. Right
yeah, buddy. See, when you get gold, you got to use it, bro.
That was my thing. I was like, I don't like promoting this kind of stuff, but I was like, I know somebody else is going to do it. It's like, he said it. And I was like, and also, like I said, I think it was just kind of funny. It's over the top, like comically, like negative that it's just, to me, it's just like funny. I mean, obviously some of the things he said were true, but yeah, I don't know why he's bringing that up on a podcast. You know, at this, I don't know. I mean, obviously there's probably maybe a little bit of jealousy there because Vince had a bigger career than he did, and I don't know. Are they got a beef for something? Who knows why? But I thought it was kind of funny that he was saying all that shit that probably a lot of people have thought too. They just maybe they don't say it out loud. But Don Dawkins doesn't give a fuck.
When you get in a zone with a guest and you get to that point, do you feel it? Do you feel when you've had that connection and now you're jamming? It's like when you're in music and you're jamming. Do you get that?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. You just feel like, yeah, it's like I said, it's like a high. I mean, it really is like, it's like, and especially when you finish it, it's just such a great feeling. But yeah, when you're in the middle of it, in the zone, I mean, yeah, I imagine that's what, if you're a sports person or if you're a musician and you're on stage, I mean, it's got to be somewhat similar. It's not, I don't have like millions of people cheering for me or anything, but it feels good. It feels like I'm doing something I'm good at, and I'm connecting with somebody, and usually the guest is having a good time as well. So yeah, it's a good feeling.
Hey, singing in the garage band at a kegger party, you walk off the stage with that feeling, bro.
I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely.
A million people watching. It's like, if 20, 30 people are going, yeah, dude, that rocked. You walk off the stage high. You know.
Yeah, I mean, like, even if you tell a joke and there's 4 people and 4 people are cracking up, like that feels pretty good, right? Like you're making people happy.
I did the garage band thing. I also worked at Z-Rock in Phoenix. Back when Z-Rock was in West Phoenix, right? Rob Flanick was my boy, dude. He was a production manager there, and they made him do a weekend. They made him do a weekend 4-hour stint on air. Rob would go in on the weekend so he could work on commercials and stuff, and there was nobody there, right? Skeleton crew at the station. And they'd make him go work so he called me one day. He's like, man, you want to come down here, pull music for me, answer the phone, do all this and that? And I'm like, oh, hell yeah. And they called me Pa Bell. And I answered the phone on Saturdays between noon and 4 every Saturday, right? And I'd pull the music for him, and he'd be over in the production booth making commercials because that was his job, So people got to know me, and I was not an employee of the station, so I could get away with all kinds of stuff, right? They would come, what an A record is. They come in, and this one you have to play this amount of times, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't play it. I'd pull something else by the same band with the same length, and I'd put that in the queue, right? And Rob would just play them. He'd just grab them and play them. He didn't care. And then the station manager would call, want to talk to Rob. Oh, Rob's in the production booth. Cool. So I just play.
I can see you working there. That sounds like a good fit. More than I couldn't see you picture you in a corporate job, but I could picture you at a radio station. That sounds perfect for you.
That 4 hours never went according to script. As far as the station was concerned, their playlist, that 4 hours was mine, bro. I did whatever I wanted.
Now, so vibing with the guest, I'm forewarning here. Here's one of those standard questions, but I kind of got to ask it. What is out of the 500 you've done, do you have a favorite interview where you thought you connected the most with that guest and you guys were just simpatico? Like you could have talked for 6 hours if you wanted.
I mean, there's so many. It's hard to pick just like one favorite, but I think when I first started, having like Eric Turner from Warrant, that was really exciting because I was such a big fan and I felt like I vibed very well. I had John Corabi, who was the singer of Motley Crue at one point, and I felt like I was vibing and that felt really cool. Rachel Bolan from Skid Row was one of my favorites. So those are some of my early favorites when I first started, when I was really still kind of getting good at what I was doing. But now I feel like almost every guest is a favorite. Like because I feel like I'm good at what I do. I think I'm good at what I do. So I feel like every episode is good. Usually, I mean, unless the guest is just not wanting to talk for some reason, but I feel like it's almost like my most recent is my favorite, and then like I'll do a new one. I'll be like, oh no, this is my favorite now. And then because I forget about the older ones, but if I go back, those were some of the early ones that I was like, wow, this is just really surreal. And it was a little newer and more exciting, I think, back then, but I still get the rush. I still get the feeling. It's harder to get those kinds of guests even though now, like I said, it's tougher because everyone's got a podcast. So, you know, these
Yeah.
guests, they just want to do, and they've done a bunch of podcasts at this point. So they only
Would
want to
it-
do the new ones.
Would it be fair to say that one of the things that's happened is a lot what's happened in indie comics, where when indie comics was getting big, it was mostly people like, you know, normal people that were creating comics. And now indie comics has people like, and this is not to crap on him, but like Keanu Reeves is doing indie comics on Kickstarter or something like that. Same thing with podcasts. You've got big established names coming in to the podcast space and kind of crowding out more regular people. Do you think that's a fair criticism?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it is. It's because I think it was like the guys from Cheers started a podcast, and it's like, okay, well, I can't, like, immediately, like day one of their podcast, they've already got more followers than me immediately because they're the guys from Cheers and they're famous. So, and there's so many stories like that. The Hawk Tua girl started a podcast immediately. She's getting A-list guests, has millions of followers and downloads and all the shit. Am I as good of an interviewer as Hawk Tua girl? I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe it doesn't matter how good of an interviewer you are. If you get a big guest and you're able to have fun with them, then maybe that's all people care about. So it's hard to compete with that, though. I think that's another reason I'm just getting kind of burned out. I'm just like, what do I do now? Like, I thought trying to grow, you know, go like this, and it's just like now I'm just going downhill.
And then
because
you
of all
meet
this
me.
other.
Yeah, I think we all
you
could.
meet me, and we go,
Yeah.
look. I was serious about offering you, bringing your channel to the Roku, your show to the Roku channel, and that for me was the next logical thing. You see what I'm saying? When we were doing the Roku thing, it was like, okay, this is cool. Or we're doing the YouTube thing. This is cool, but like you said, the competition out here is ridiculous. Everybody's got it. You can't watch everything. Okay, if there's 20 things in this time slot, somebody has to choose this. Do you see what I'm saying? When you go to our Roku network, it's like view on demand. It's like Netflix. Well, one show after, go through the shows. I want to check out that show. All the episodes, you know. It's like it's binge watch when we get enough stuff up there, you know. So that was for me. Okay, what's next? Well, let's go somewhere our people aren't. Let's go invade a platform where, you know, we're not, and we don't have the Google overlord and the YouTube overlord. We're on TV. Okay. And that makes things different. You know, we get to do some things that you can't do on YouTube. We get to do some things that you can't do because of Google, you know, but we're not under their oversee. You know, it's the FCMA or the DMCA and the FCC, and that's the only ones we have to answer to.
The ones that kill me on YouTube and Google are the prescriptions on words or certain things. Like I remember I was talking baseball one time and said that you know, a player on my team got plunked, so I said, you know, we need to throw at the other player, and I got a video banned and everything for violence. It's like, come on. But
this is what I'm talking about. The censorship doesn't exist where we're going.
I got to apologize to you, by the way, Chuck. Chickpea the rooster is out here wanting to crow to the entire world. I don't know if you've heard the rooster, but he's back there, and he wants everyone to know that he is alive and he's a big rooster. So
you have a rooster? It's yours, or it's like your neighbors, or? Oh
no, we have chickens. So yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, we have chickens. We live in a town called Riverside, and it's a metro area. But where I live, this one area is zoned for farms and stuff. So we have like goats around us and all sorts of stuff. So in the middle of a city. So
you get fresh eggs then?
Oh yeah.
I mean, not from the rooster, but I'm assuming you have a hen then too, right?
Yeah. We get about a couple dozen eggs a week. So
how many chickens do you have?
3.
You have 3. Pete and Tasha have 6.
Yeah.
And that's
my dream. I want to have chickens, and I want to have a greenhouse. I want to grow as much food of my own as possible.
Oh yeah.
Because then I don't trust these people that are the food companies. I don't know what they're putting in our food, but I mean, that would be nice to know you're getting, you know, where the eggs come from.
And I will tell you right.
organic.
I will tell you right now, the first time that we started eating the eggs from our chickens, it felt a little weird at first. You know, because it was like, it felt like you were eating your friend, you know. It's like it was just that kind of thing. But then,
well,
you know, we got
eating your friend's poop or something like that. Right?
Yeah, you know, but then we got over it. And the first time that we ate the eggs, and I was cooking with the eggs, I thought there was something wrong. And then I came to realize that I was eating regular eggs, like the eggs from the wild, the way they're supposed to be, for the first time in my life. They look different.
They're like really yellow, right?
Yeah.
Because all the vitamins and nutrients.
Yeah. But it was weird because at first I thought there's something wrong with these eggs. I got to throw them out.
Oh,
and then it was
that's how they're supposed to be.
Yeah. So it was so strange. It was a really surreal experience. And then we have a garden where we grow all our own stuff and everything. Like we have a
cool.
Yeah, we have a dragon fruit plant we call Medusa that's trying to get in the house, you know, and it's crawled up the house and keeps trying to get in the windows and stuff. So
yeah, no, that's
grow our own peppers. We grow peppers, okay,
yes.
and that's because we make a lot of salsa.
Oh.
Right. Like I say, I'm 35 years in Phoenix. I'm stuck in Michigan now. We're gonna have salsa. We're gonna have real salsa. We're not gonna have this weak ass, you know, store-bought crap, right? We
That's
make
great.
mango sauces. We make all kinds of killer sauces.
You know what it reminds me though when you're saying like the eggs look different was there's a place in Arizona. I don't know if you ever went when you lived here, but it's called Fossil Creek, and I think they just recently opened it up because it was closed for like 100 years, and so they opened it back up, and you go in there and the water, it looks fake because it's so crystal clear and like almost like a turquoise blue. It's so beautiful. And it's because we haven't polluted it. This is how water's supposed to look. It's supposed to be crystal clear. And it was just so amazing. So I think it's the same thing with the eggs. That's how they're supposed to look. But we've just, you know, with the chemicals and all this crap we put, and the chickens are sick and all this. And so that's how eggs are supposed to be. So that's really cool.
Yeah. And the fact that the chickens, they're you know, they're free range and they're moving around and everything. It's like, so it's really chickens. Cool. Yeah.
Not like sick chickens.
Being fed well, not just whatever, you know, is
Plus,
cheapest. Or
I will tell you right now, those chickens, they do great cleaning up like the ground, you know, the ground insects and stuff like that as well. So they get out there. Our biggest problem is we have hawks and owls that try and get to them. So, you know, so
how do you protect them against that?
We have an enclosed area that, you know, that we created for them to keep them. So if we're not out there with them, we keep that. And then, but yeah, I've had a couple times where my dog, she actually chased off a great horned owl that had tried to hit and attack the kennel that they are.
We put the pit bulls out with them when they go out. We put the pit bulls out with them, and no worry about hogs.
Apollo, nature is crazy.
Yeah, but we'll see them every now and then. Still, you'll see a shadow, and there's a hawk circling up there, looking at the chickens and stuff. So you know, you just gotta watch it.
That was a new addition when I went over to Pete's last time. I have a family. I go watch their house when they go on vacation, right? They got pit bulls, and last time I went, they had chickens. Okay, it was a whole new thing. They had to teach me all about how to take care of the chickens and everything. But, you know, it's like I said, I love to learn stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. I will do anything if I'm learning something new. I jump in because knowledge is power, you know, and it doesn't matter what it is. Look, he said something about a rooster. We've been talking about chickens for 5 minutes. You see how that works?
I love it. I love it going on tangent. Good stuff.
So I got another clip. I got a couple more, but I think we got time for one more clip. I want to throw this up here. This is something. We're going back to another. I'm not going to say conspiracy theory because I hate that term. Another alternative idea. We'll put that out there. So this is about the Tomb of Gilgamesh. Now, I've never heard of this. So I'm going to throw this up there. And then I was wondering if we could talk a little bit about this one and where you found this guest and everything. So
the WikiLeaks dumps, they said Hillary Clinton was talking about the tomb of Gilgamesh. And so if like,
you mentioned that. Didn't you say Bush was looking for it too or something?
Well, they were saying the timing of the invasion, like mostly even Desert Storm, and then like the second one, they're very coincidental. Like there was these big finds, archaeological finds of like cuneiform tablets from like where Iraq was basically where like the Tower of Babel and everything was. So they find these things, and all of a sudden there's this invasion force. Strategically, when we went into Iraq the second time, obviously besides the fact that it was such a botched thing, it made no sense that we went in there, instead of destroying their army, we did like a beeline to Baghdad. Basically, the museum in Baghdad got looted. Even one of our generals said the people, it was like an inside job. People knew what they were looking for because they left a lot of the fake stuff. Like, what did they find? So if you think about it, like the tomb of Gilgamesh, the mythology is about Gilgamesh. He was like 17 feet tall. If they thought they found his tomb, my question would be, well, how big was it?
Now, I know about Gilgamesh, but I didn't know had never heard of this. So, yeah, what is this all about? So,
yeah, I don't really know all the details. That guest, he goes on the YouTube, JT follows JC, and I found him he was on Sam Tripoli's podcast. I stole a few guests from Sam Tripoli because I think Sam Tripoli has some really interesting guests and really interesting. He just recently did Rogan, and that was a fascinating episode. I encourage you to listen to that one. But yeah, like he brought that up, and I was like, wow, that's so interesting. And they made this whole movie about I forget what the movie was called, but they talk a lot about how there was these giants basically back in the day, which I don't know if it's just totally false, if there's any truth to it. Or, right. You see these articles from like the 1940s and stuff where they found these bones of giants.
Heard about that.
Yeah. But then people say, no, they were elephants. They didn't know what they were looking at. And I'm like, I don't know. How do you mistake a giant human and a giant elephant? It's pretty different. So I don't know. It's really fascinating though, because that's something that I'd never even heard of before. And then he's bringing that up and Gilgamesh and I'm not real versed on the Bible and the history of all that stuff, but I find it really fascinating. I don't know how much truth there is in it, but the things that he's saying, it kind of makes sense because it is really suspicious. When we did those wars in the Middle East, I was like, wait, why? I don't understand this. We're going after Osama bin Laden, but we went to Iraq, even though he's not there, and we have no evidence that it makes no sense why we're going to Iraq. So it was very suspicious. So maybe it's some other reason, but that would be interesting if that was the reason.
I hope you take this as a compliment, but watching your interviews, getting ready for talking to you today, it's a very Joe Rogan vibe that you give off, and you're willing to talk. Rogan.
Yeah, maybe that's why. It shows up.
Yeah, you're willing to really talk to anybody and listen to them, and I really like that about your interviews. So on a tangent on this Gilgamesh, did you ever hear about the theory of the Cyclops, where it was the same thing, where they found giant skeletons with one central eye hole, and then people were trying to claim claim that those are actually elephant skulls with a hole at the top of the skull or whatever. So,
no, that sounds really fascinating, though. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's one of those
on that rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So let's see. Well, I think we have time for. Do we have time for one more clip, Pops?
Yeah, we ain't quit until we quit.
Okay. Well, I found this one. I don't listen to Howard as much as I used to, but my favorite era was, when Jackie was on, and then you had Billy West was on the show, a different era. So I found this clip where you're talking to Jackie Martling, and I want to throw this up there, and then I wanted to ask you. Well, I'll ask you some things on the other end of the clip, if that's okay.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
All right.
We went on to the E show. Instead of me flipping notes where Howard could see him, they put a lipstick camera on a little thing where I'd write a note and put it in the basket or whatever you call it with the camera on it. And Howard had a computer monitor here and a computer monitor here. So whenever a guest came in, Howard would always put on his dark glasses. That never seemed weird to anybody because he's mysterious Howard and he's groovy. So he's going to put on his dark glasses to look cool for his guests. But meanwhile, he's got a computer monitor right there with the notes that I'm writing, and Fred's passing me notes, so Fred's notes too. So he's got on the glasses. So he's looking over with his eyes. He's looking over and reading what we're writing, but the guest has no idea that he's looking. And people are like, wow, I never thought of that. It's kind of funny, you know.
So I love this interview that you did, and I liked the short as well. But how cool was it for you to be able to get insights like that behind the scenes from different people and everything? And are you a Howard Stern fan? I guess, you know, did you ever listen to Howard? So.
Oh yeah. I mean, I loved Howard back in the day. They didn't have him in Seattle until like the late 90s, and they got him, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And he was on the rock station in the mornings, and it was really cool. And then he went to Sirius. And so I think there was a couple of years where I didn't listen. And then I got Sirius in like 2005. And then I used to listen to him. And then there was a while when I got really into Howard Stern. And then also he had Bubba the Love Sponge was on his channel on Fridays. And I just was starting to get into Bubba the Love Sponge, and then they canceled his show or whatever. And that sucked. But yeah, I think I missed some of the Jackie era. I think that might've been before I was more, became a fan during the Artie Lang era.
Okay.
But,
yep.
I remember seeing Jackie during the E show and stuff like that. And I listened to some of the episodes, but, yeah, I mean, Howard Stern is just, you know, he's such a great interviewer. I think we talked about earlier how he would kind of more interrupt the guests, but he did his research and he would bring up fascinating things. But I didn't know the thing about how they were feeding him a lot of the lines live.
Yeah.
Not that he just had questions and scripts that they prepared for him, but they were coming up with jokes like on the fly. So that's why it's like his sister said something like, oh, wow, you're so funny now. I didn't know you were so funny. And it's because they were feeding him the lines. So,
yeah. Fred was another one that did a lot of that. So I think
yeah, Fred, Jackie, and what's the other, there's a couple other writers that and now he has different, he still has writers, but
yeah,
I mean, I never knew that. I mean, I guess the diehard Stern fans are like, oh, of course everybody knows that, you idiot. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know. I didn't know that. I listen to Stern a lot, but yeah, I guess some people already know.
I can tell that he has writers, because when you turn him loose on his own, he just ain't that funny.
Well, he's different, you know, but
yeah.
Jackie, like during the Jackie era, and that's when I would listen, but Billy West was the one who was really, he would go for the jugular on stuff. He had no holds barred on his comedy, and he would pass stuff to Howard that would sometimes go over the line, but it was funny, you know, you know, it was definitely a collaboration. But I thought one of the things I thought was funny was the thing with the glasses, because one of the reasons I started wearing sunglasses all the time is that I have like eye problems with the you know, the light from the monitors, but also because I've got 3 monitors, so I can look at the different monitors without, you know, people knowing that I'm not looking at the camera and stuff. So it's the same thing. Right. So it was interesting.
That makes sense. Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely.
All right. That is all the stuff I had, but one of the things I did want to ask, as far as clips, one of the things I wanted to ask you is that, you know, you've done all of these eclectic, you know, different topics. You know, obviously you do quite a bit of music, but you've had people on there about nutrition. You've had the paranormal. Is there any topic or kind of guest that you haven't gotten to that you really would love to get somebody on the show on this type of thing? And I'm looking at the kittens fighting in the background, so I apologize for that. Is there any guest or a kind of topic that you would like to get to where you want to like cover that particular thing?
Oh, it's funny you mentioned kittens. I love cats. I would love to get Jackson Galaxy on the show. I don't know if you follow him at all, but yeah, I mean, I think I've gotten most, at least like subjects, I would say that, but in terms of like specific guests, I think that's harder to get some of the specific guests. Like I really wanted to get, I think like Norm Macdonald was definitely one of my bucket list guests, and he passed away. And I don't know if you guys know college football at all, but I'm a big WSU fan, and Mike Leach was the coach. And he's a really quirky, even if you don't like football, just Google some of his interviews. They have nothing to do with football. He gives life advice, and he's really quirky and funny. He would have been a dream guest. That would have been, you know, so there's a lot of people like that. You know, right now, the people that are still around, you know, there's people like Nikki Sixx. I grew up a big Motley Crue fan. I would love to get him on the show. I think
Oh.
he'd be really an interesting guest. I think he's an interesting guy. Anybody from Guns N' Roses would be amazing too.
I used to be good friends with Mick Mars' daughter, and we got into like Motley Crue shows and stuff all the time, and back in the day. But that was a long time ago. So.
I knew an old dude named Grumpy, whose claim to fame was teaching Nikki Sixx to play bass. And
really?
Yeah,
I thought he was self-taught. He punk rock. I didn't know he took lots.
Self-taught. Everybody's self-taught, but somebody still put it in their hand, right?
Yeah.
It was. He lived in Phoenix when I met him, and he told me the story, and then we got to go backstage at a Motley Crue concert with him, and so I know he's not BSing me, right?
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, like, how do you know if this guy's legit? Yeah.
Yeah, we went backstage, and but then the next time Motley Crue came to Phoenix was that short show. Do you know the show I'm talking about? It was the last show on the tour, and they were out there for about 50 minutes and gone. They didn't even play a full hour, dude. It was I was so mad. It was like,
yeah, I saw him recently on the tour, the stadium tour with Def Leppard and Poison. I thought Poison killed it. I think they kind of stole the show. Yeah.
It was a long time ago, though. I'm talking 25, 30 years ago. And it was it was the last show on the tour. And it was like, you'd think the last show on the tour, they'd go all out and leave it all on the stage, right? And we were really excited that we were getting their final show.
Right.
Yeah, I went to college at a university in New York, about 50 miles upstate from New York City, and all of the bands that were starting their tours in New York City would come, and before the tour would start, and not just bands but also like comedians and stuff, they would go to this little dance club in Poughkeepsie called Dance Dance, and it only could fit about 150 people in there, and we would get tickets to go see people. So we saw Motley Crue there, we saw Sam Kinison there and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool. But
wow. Another Phoenix thing, Compton Terrace. You know Compton Terrace. You live in Phoenix.
No, I don't know. What is that?
Compton Terrace used to be owned. It's a venue that was owned by Stevie Nicks' dad. It's out by Firebird Lake.
Is it still there?
Well, I mean, I haven't been there in 10 years, but I'm sure that they were still doing shows there. Firebird Lake, where the boat races and drag races and F1 course is out there, by the reservation out on the east side. There's also a huge concert venue there, and I saw the Scorpions and Aerosmith, 1988, on my birthday, again backstage, having a blast, because that was the prelude to the Z-Rock days. That was when I was a garage band, and everything about music I had to be involved in. Had a friend say, "Oh, it's your birthday, come on, take you backstage." Boom, there I was backstage, high-fiving the guys as they come off stage. Well, high-fiving and low-fiving, you know what I'm talking about. Scorpions come off stage, you go high five, low five, high five, high five. Klaus is just a little guy, man. I was like,
yeah.
But there was 40-something thousand people there. The place was packed. There was people on top of the porta potties at the back of the lawn, dude. Wow. It was packed. And probably the most amazing show I ever got to see, because I got to see it from the front and the back. We were going out there front watching something. We were going backstage partying. We were going out front watching some more. We were going backstage partying. It was like, probably my best birthday ever.
They said they demolished. I just looked it up. They demolished it in 2010.
Why'd you do that? Look, I'm gonna channel Sam Kinison over that. Oh man, that was the best venue, dude. Well, I guess they do have another outdoor venue now out in West Phoenix. So the private
it's so hot though. Yeah. Being near a lake would be
nice too. But the outdoor venues are still best, man, because more people. more and more people. Like ASU.
You guys ever get a chance, if you're in Washington, go to the Gorge, see a concert at the Gorge. It's the best venue I've ever been to.
Excellent.
Have you got to check out Celebrity Theater? Do they still have Celebrity Theater in the round?
Yeah. Yep. That one's
that's
still there.
I saw
The thing-
Ted there. That was awesome.
The thing for me is that so many of these prices have gotten so expensive. Like I saw recently that John Williams of Star Wars fame and everything was doing a one-night concert at the Hollywood Bowl of all of his movie themes and everything. And I was like, oh, I want to go to that. Like tickets started at like $800 a piece, so it was like, and that was like way in the back of the Hollywood Bowl. I was like, oh, I can't afford that. So
I just did a video about Ticketmaster and how they've raised the prices. They just keep adding more and more fees. It used to be about like a 15% fee. Now it's like 43%.
Yeah.
So
Oh my Lord. Well, that's
one of the things this administration is going after, the scalping of tickets and whatnot.
Well, that would be good. I support that.
Just the normal price. I mean, I know I'm a big, soccer fan, and they just did the raffle. They just started the process where you can enter the lottery to get World Cup tickets, but it's like, who could afford? Who could afford it? It's like, unless you're independently wealthy.
Eventually, yeah, I think it's going to hit a bubble at some point. They're going to have to drop the prices to get people to go, but we'll see.
Yeah. So they've priced a lot of that stuff out. It's like, my dad went to Super Bowl I, so he went to the first Super Bowl, the Green Bay, the Packers versus the Kansas City Chiefs in LA, and it wasn't even full. And he tells me the story. He's got like the what do you call it, the program from it and everything still, but it cost him $2.50 to go to the game. So
wild.
Yeah. So
hey, I gotta ask. I have two questions for Chuck. These are just off the top of my head. What's the best show you ever went to for the dollar?
Ooh, gosh, that's a good one. I mean, the first concert I ever went to, period, was Guns N' Roses and Metallica and Motorhead opening, and that was like, I think it was like $30 or $25 or something. So it's hard to beat that. That was the first concert I ever went to, and it might be the best.
I saw Joe Satriani at the Arizona State Fair for the $5 entry fee.
Wow, that's great.
He tore it up too, bro.
That would be amazing.
That was before Sammy, before Chickenfoot. That was back when Joe was just Joe, flying in a blue dream. Dude, it was amazing. Oh. His bass player come out, did a solo, played the Peanuts theme on his bass, and tore it up. Dude, I was like, man, these guys are awesome. Definitely best for the buck, for $5, best show ever.
That's amazing. Yeah. I've never seen Satriani. I'd like to see him with a Chickenfoot.
Yes, and they are putting together new music. Him and Sammy.
Oh, good, good. I need to see that.
All right, I could share. Let me share a story with you guys real quick. One of the weird things about being in the Army is a lot of times you get a lot of free stuff, but I don't know how they put these things together. I don't know what the people who are putting these concerts together are smoking. I went to a free concert once for the Army, and it attracted a bunch of people and all of the military personnel. We could get in free. And it was the Doobie Brothers. This is in 1990s, by the way. The Doobie Brothers, Fleetwood Mac, and Iron Maiden in concert together. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
It actually sounds amazing, but it's a weird mix.
Yeah.
I like all those things.
That's so the day that Stevie Nicks lost her mind, bro.
Yeah. I mean, so it's like, it's just this weird, like they just took a bunch of bands and like rolled the dice to see what they could come up with, and to get them in there. So
yeah, like Stevie was all cool, and then she did one show with Iron Maiden, and she was like,
yeah. And this was not unusual. When I was at school at West Point, they had a concert where it was Bob Dylan, George Thorogood, Neil Young, and Duran Duran. So it's like, what do these things not have? It's like,
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's like a lot of the festivals now are like that. They're very eclectic. They do these big festivals, and like you might only like one band, but you have to pay for the whole festival to see that one band. I don't know. It's interesting.
But for me, just personally, it was like you get in a groove. Like I like all sorts of different types of music. But you get your mind in a groove, and then suddenly it shifts to something else. It's like you spring something in your brain. So
I feel like I interviewed somebody that it was a similar kind of thing where they played with some band like that. It was somebody that played with I think it's like a soft rock band. I forget who it was. They played with like Motorhead. I was like, dude, that's got to be weird.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I will tell you the strangest opening for a show I ever saw, but it turned out to be cool, is I went to go see Kiss on their final tour, which was not the final tour.
May not be the final tour.
Yeah. And the opener for them was supposed to be David Lee Roth, and he quit the tour and took off. And so they got some guy who put rock music on and created artwork on stage to rock music live.
I heard about this. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, what? It was awesome. It was great.
Yeah.
It was absolutely fantastic. And then by the end, when it was all done and the piece of art was done, I was like upset that I didn't have money to bid on it. It was that cool. So I was like, it was really, really awesome. So totally unexpected as far as being an opener. That was good. So
cool.
Now I have one other question. Have you ever interviewed Zakk Wylde?
No, I've tried several times. I've reached out, but I never heard back.
See, we got to make that one happen. We got to make that one happen because Zak's my dude. Got to talk to him a few times back in the Z-Rock days. Was backstage at a Pride and Glory show, which, if y'all don't know Pride and Glory, y'all know Zakk from Ozzy, y'all know Zakk from Black Label. But if you do not know the album Pride and Glory, go check it out because you will get Southern Zakk.
I love Pride and Glory. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think I interviewed maybe it was who's the drummer of that? I feel like I interviewed him.
Well, I know JD plays the bass, and I can't even remember.
Was it Brian Tishy? Was he the drummer of Pride and Glory?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
I had Tishy on the show. He was a nice guy.
Yeah, they're all amazing. I mean, look, man, we Rob and I had Zakk on the show on Zebra, and then went backstage to the Roxy, which is just a bar, guys, in Phoenix, right? I don't even know if it's still there, but it's a 2-level bar, and you can be up top on the railing just watching, or down there on the floor, you know, where all the tables are and everything. And great venue for a show, right? Pride and Glory. Place was freaking packed. Hung out with Zakk backstage afterwards on his bus for a little while. You know, just a nice guy. Okay. That was the drinking Zakk. Okay. Then I got to meet the sober Zakk a few years later. Right. And dude, he was just as upbeat and positive, and he just wanted everything around him to be fun. Right. It was all about jokes and laughing and having a good time, and respect the hell out of him that he, you know, had sobered up, but it didn't change who he was. You know what I mean? It was like he was probably even more fun. He walked by me and my friend, and she didn't realize it was him because she only saw his back as he went by. And he was getting ready to go on stage, right? And she goes, "Oh, somebody smells like a French whore." And Zakk turns around and he looks at her and he goes, "Yeah, well, in about 20 minutes, you're going to be glad I got all this on me," because he was getting ready to go on stage. And, you know, you bust a sweat.
Sweaty, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So he's like sprayed himself with every kind of Axe or whatever before going up on stage, right? But yeah, she said that, and when she realized that Zakk was the person, she turned a shade of red I've never seen before.
Wow.
She didn't realize it was him, but she knew as soon as he turned around who he was. It wasn't like, you know, who's that guy? It was like, oh my God. She was just so embarrassed, and it was hilarious.
Cool.
Awesome.
it's always fun meeting people that you appreciate what they've done. Okay. I loved Zach's music. So getting to meet him was like that high you were talking about earlier, right? And that was one of the times where, yeah, I fanboyed a little bit the first time I met him. You know, second time it was like, hey, yo, what up? But the first time it was like, you know, and I was glad I was with Rob, because Rob just talking to dude like they've been friends forever, you know, and I'm just kind of standing on the side, just standing there, you know, but he, you know, picked up his guitar and played on the bus, you know. I mean, just dude, he's just fun to hang out with for a minute, you know.
Very cool.
If you can get that interview, yeah, let me know, because
I'd be down. Yeah, I should reach out. I should try again. Yeah.
Well, maybe
it's tough, but
you might have to wait a little while right now. I'm sure that, you know, they're not out talking much right now. They're all still.
Sure.
I'm still more. Hell. You know, we actually put together a Ozzy art book that we have, because art, comics, people, we got artists, right?
Sure.
So I reached out to everybody and I was like, hey, man, if you guys want to get involved in this project that I'm thinking about, hit me up. And we had like 40 people go, what, you know, hit me up in private. What's the deal? And I told them I'm doing a tribute to Ozzy. If you want to draw something fresh, your personal goodbye, your personal tribute to Ozzy, let me know. And we got a whole bunch of art. It's in public. It's in the what do you call it? Formatting. They're formatting the pages right now for the book, and that should be coming out real soon. We'll play the ad for that at the end of the show here. You can check out the cute little ad that we made for it.
Yeah. So, with that, I want to thank you, Chuck, for coming on and letting us go all kinds of different places, you know, and talk to you about
one thing.
Yep.
The way we always end this show. If there's something, Chuck, that you want to talk about that we haven't talked about, this is about, you know, what's your issue. So if there's anything like going on or something you got coming up, anything that we didn't talk about that you want to talk about, the podium is yours, my friend.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, I just want to thank you guys for having me on. I'm always flattered to be a guest on someone else's show. Like, I don't feel like I have the pedigree to be a guest, but I appreciate it. So it was a lot of fun. You asked great questions and brought up some interesting stuff. It wasn't the same old question. So that I appreciate that. I know how hard it is to do this, to ask the questions, to come up with them, do your research. So I could tell that you put the work into it. I appreciate that. And you guys are just like a lot of fun. And so I think we need more of that in the world. And I think that's kind of my issue right now, is just there's so much hate and division and just negativity. And so I'm trying to bring more positive and trying to bring more peace and love, and as cheesy as that sounds. So, you know, things like this, I think are good. We're just having fun. We're having a good time. Hopefully we didn't offend anybody, but yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of where I'm going to try to go with the future, is just try to do something that brings people together and doesn't divide them. I don't know what that is. Maybe I just need to buckle down on the podcast or do something totally different. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but that's going to be my goal, because I just see too much division and hate in this country. And I feel like if we don't do something now, we're not going to have a country in like 5 years. So that's going to be, yeah. So I just think love each other, try to listen to each other, listen to my podcast. I think you'll learn a lot. And yeah, that's all I got to say. Thank you so much for having me.
Check out that shirt.
Yeah. Amen to that.
Check out that shirt, people. Come on.
Well,
you know what I'm talking about.
I like that shirt, but I'm not sure that is going to bring it. Well, that's not going to bring us all together. It's going to like tear us apart, because you're going to get that petty.
You know? If you're a fan of Friday the 13th, yeah. I mean, I like that you brought up my Bigfoot shirt. I was like, nobody commented on that. That's so weird. I thought that was so interesting, but I'm glad you appreciated that.
Weird tangent. My wife was actually a camp counselor at the actual camp in Passaic, New Jersey, where that is Camp Crystal Lake in the movies.
Wow, that is so cool. I want to go visit there. That's on my bucket list.
Yeah.
Where do you live now?
I live in Riverside in Southern California. So.
Oh, it's Southern California. Okay.
Yeah.
Riverside. I know sometimes there's multiple Riversides, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah. California. I grew up here. My wife is from New Jersey, and then I went to West Point in New York. So, and then I was in the Army and went everywhere. So you're
familiar with the East Coast and all that, yeah.
Yeah. So, Yeah, I used to wander the East Coast. So when I was not being tied down at school. So yeah.
Gotcha. That's very
Yes.
cool. All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah, have a good time. That's the main thing. It's a great message, and that just fortifies my thought process of inviting you to the network. That's exactly the kind of stuff I want. That's where I want to go. I want people to tune in, have a good time.
Yeah,
no doom and gloom, man.
But we need to talk and have love for each other. So
yeah,
absolutely. Well, yeah. Thanks again for having me on. I think I'm gonna go get some food and we'll be in touch.
Thank you so much, Chuck.
Do me one favor. Tune in to watch this ad I'm gonna play right after this. But also that final question: what is your favorite album cover art?
I mean, off the top of my head, I loved Cherry Pie. Like I got Warren the Dirty Rod, but the other one, the Cherry Pie, I thought that's similar too. But when I was a kid, you know, the girl, the pie spilling, I don't know, something about that was magical.
So, nothing wrong with that.
Cherry Pie, bro. I know.
Although it's concerning now that she's a grandmother, but that's a whole other thing. So
I'm a grandfather.
It's still beautiful.
You know. All right. I want to thank you so much, Chuck, for giving us your time, man. And hey, if you're ever looking for somebody to come out and talk, well, either one of us would be more than happy to come out and tell you our stories, how we got to the place where we're at in this crazy thing we call life.
I'd even talk about my day job, writing comic books and novels. So, you know.
Yeah. Keep me posted, and we'll be in touch about the Roku thing. I'll look into that and see if that works.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
can I share this to my?
Oh yes.
How do I do that?
I'm going to send you a copy of it.
Okay.
Okay. You just drop your email address in that Facebook inbox. Drop your email address. I will send it to you, and then you can air it, and I will air it on Roku in about an hour.
Well, I'll just share your link. I mean, that's fine. I don't need to post it on my YouTube. I could just share the link of so you get the hits or whatever. You have it's on Roku?
This is on Roku exclusive, so yeah.
Yeah, it's not so much about the hits, it's about spreading the love. We'll probably put this behind our members wall on our YouTube channel. We'll air it live, and then once it's not live, but we'll air it once everywhere on our network, and then we'll take it down from everywhere except Roku.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? But we'll air it so that it goes across our whole platform: X, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere we go, Rumble, all of it pilled. We'll air it there, and then, we'll upload it to the Roku. It's like they'll probably all go off about the same time. So
okay, cool. Sounds good.
Probably like 3:00 or so. It'll all be fired up everywhere. So
all right, just send me a link. I'll post it. All right,
I had a great time talking to you, Chuck, and
we'll see. Great to meet you, man.
We'll see the rest of you out there. So we're gonna go out of here with this Aussie and then some credits and everything. But thank you for being on the show, and we'll talk to y'all next time.
Peace.
Ozzy, what are you doing? Come and have a look at this lovely book that was sent over.
You're wrapping in the perpendicular.
Oh, go on and spit the back out your mouth. No one can understand you like that.
Say how 5 dentists and all.
Oh, well, that's not much better. Ozzy, why don't you sing to me? I can always understand you when you sing to me.
Fucking my brains. What is this my publisher sent me? Inked in black with art so sweet.
So what do you think? Do you like it?
Oh, Lord, yeah.
The live viewing of any Madness Entertainment Group production, you can find all our content on Roku or as a member of this channel. We'll see you next time on the Madness Entertainment